everyone, welcome back on the channel. Welcome to a new tutorial on how I created my favela table that you can see over here. I'm going to do a two video, one that will be focusing on the terrain tiles. I did some flat one, but also some that elevated one. And I will do a second video on the buildings, the shantytown building that you can see here. I already did the video on how I created like the civilian kind of building. You're using Sarisa Precision MDF kit. So yeah, next will be those buildings. But first, let's have a look at those terrain tiles. So let's see first up close how they look like, and I took some picture along the process of creating them, and I'm going to show you how I created that. So the base is 1 centimeter MDF, and on top of that, yeah, just added a couple of stuff, and I'm going to show you that a bit in more detail. The latest one I just finished a couple of days ago is that elevated one. So you have the first level over here with some stairs that you can see here, some bigger stairs there, and there is a ramp on that side here for vehicles to come on top. And if I don't bang all my miniature, that will be best. And then there is a second level. There is one stair over here, and there is another more hidden stair on that side over here. That brings us to the second level, where right now I've placed the small church with the cemetery on the back. But yeah, I could have also some other favela building here. The favela have spread to the first ground here, but in my first teaser video that I just released on my channel, those buildings were up there, a bit laid down differently. All those buildings are modular, so yeah, I can have more replayability. So now let's first focus on how I created those flat tiles, and in the second time we'll have a look at how I created the favela elevated tile. So like I mentioned, I started with some 1 centimeter thick MDF sheet. It was 2 by 3, so 60 by 90 centimeters, because my gaming table is 4 by 6, but I'm generally only playing on 3 in width, because it's too far for me to reach the opposite side and I can move around. So yeah, I'm playing most of the time on a 3 of width, so 90 centimeters. So I have those, I bought those tiles already pre-cut, so I didn't have I don't have the fancy tool to cut stuff that big. On top of that, I lay down some sidewalk tile that I ordered from Ludo Corturom in France. It's not on his website, it was a private order, but I know he had the machine to cut the MDF and to do exactly what I needed, especially like the inner piece, right, that we can see over here, where we could have some kind of parking away from the main road. So yeah, next it was just really lining them nicely. Then I took all those sidewalk and I engraved them a bit more. Like the laser cut was pretty sharp, but I wanted to have something a bit more used, so I took a sharp knife and I engraved a bit more, did some damage, did some bevel on the edges just to make it look more natural. Same thing on that corner piece here, trying to make some damage, to make some cracks. Next up, using some basic PVA glue, pretty thick coat, lay down the tile, pretty basic. Here is just another close-up shot on the tile while the PVA glue was drying. Next, so yeah, I created 3 different flat tile. So there is that one in a T intersection, there is the one with the parking, and there is this one here that is fully straight. For the sidewall to join the rest of the terrain on the back, I'm just using some basic filler, just to catch up the elevation smoothly until the rest of the tile. In front will be the road, but on the back it will be just some ground dirt. Next up, I put some heavy PVA glue everywhere. I and I just placed the sand on top of the PVA glue, only using really fine sand on the street part. I'm using a bit some bigger sand and rocks on the background, but not too big because I want to have all my buildings standing there, so I still needed to have something pretty flat. Yeah, just another close-up look at the road on the left and the rest of the terrain on the right, and here we can see that we're trying to catch up the elevation with the filler. Next step was spray a paint, gray for the road and Zandri dust for the rest of the terrain with a bit of brown, pretty basic. Here I'm just showing, yeah, I did the same thing with my other tile. By the way, showing that image to show you that, yeah, put some weight so it doesn't move that much. So here, that was just a step with the gray spray pen. After that, it was the Zandri dust plus a bit of brown. Here's a bit of a closer look under the sun. Trying also to add a bit some Zandri dust on the gray just to match the two colors a bit more together. Trying to see also during the creation of that if it fits well with my terrain tile. Here is just some leftover pieces. I'm trying to see if I want to do more. And after that, it was the finishing touches, like adding the grass, adding some patch of asphalt, some stain, and really the final piece is some tuft, some graph tuft, and some trash. Trash is just some basic paper that I just scratched, removed some bits, created some really thin pieces, put some PVA glue onto it, and just placed paste on the terrain a bit everywhere, just to give more a more realistic look to the overall board. What is great with that terrain, let's actually come back to the board. So I created the tile like that because first I know, first you have that main road here. That's, in terms of scenario, it's pretty cool, it's pretty interesting. I can also reverse that, put the road on the other side and play on the back of the building if I want. But what I can do also is, let's say I remove that tile, and this tile I put it sideways, so the road is in the middle, and I do the same thing with this one, put it also sideways, so I have a bigger road in the middle with some terrain on both sides. And I actually have enough tile to do a 2 row of depth. So I have a first 60 centimeter tile up to here, and another one up to there. So I have enough tile now to play on that 6x4 gaming table, even though I'm sure I will never do that. But I have enough terrain tile, and I have enough terrain and building, as you can see here. I even have some leftover on the background that didn't fit on the table yet. So yeah, after I will record a video on the building because I like that setup, but I'm just going to add a new segment to that video just to show you how it looks when you have that main road in the middle. And that's the look of the tile if I'm putting them sideways. We have a big road in the middle. We can see the junction in the middle. We have one 2x3 tile on the left and one on the right. So yeah, that could create some nice scenario where we start on one side, need to attack the favela. We could have some sniper taking position pretty far from the location. And yeah, like just having some vehicles that arrive, that assault here. We could also, yeah, talking about Haywire, we could also pick like an infill point where you start maybe over here, and you can just infill slowly, discreetly, taking enemy with silence weapon, trying to stay undetected. Even though, yeah, there is some bad guys pretty much everywhere in that setup, like. Depending on how you play and what game you play, but yeah, I quite like that. And again, like I mentioned, just below that I have one and another tile below, so here I can push those two and have another 2 tile right there in front. So yeah, that could be pretty sick game to have a 6x4, but yeah, Finding time to game is first pretty rough with a 1-year-old kid, but also it's just I can't reach the opposite side due to my room setup, so I won't be able to play on the opposite side. So 2 or 3 is the max. 3 is the max to play on. I think I could do one battle report on a board like that. That could be fun, even though I will probably just deploy as close as possible, trying to deploy on the side of the stairs with some vehicles and not deploy super far, because there won't be any objective will probably be there anyway. But that's just another close look. I've actually completely changed the setup of the building. Here I'm using a piece of tier building in construction from the Eastern Europe, my Eastern Europe board. Here we have a small shooting range where the cartel gunmen try their gun, and just another look, another setup. And that pretty much it for that. So now let's have a look at how I created the elevated tile. So I started with those 5 centimeter thick foam board, usually used for insulation. It was perfect size, like it was 90 centimeter in width. I just had to remove like that extra step that we can see on the right side. So it didn't fit completely the board, but that was fine. I didn't want it to fit perfectly. So I started to cut roughly, and throughout the creation I modified plenty of time the layout. Making also sure that it fit with some of the building I had left over, trying to make sure in terms of height and size everything was looking fine. Here I did a quick test spray painting the final paint I wanted, final color, and here I just noticed that spray paint on foam, not right away. So at the end I use some PVA glue first, then some heavy paint, a heavy coat of paint, that I apply with a pencil, with a brush, and after on top of that I ended up using the spray paint, the Zandrite spray paint that I wanted to match the rest of the board. So on the side where I wanted like the concrete, I also used some MDF. Again, it was the leftover from the board. It was 1 centimeter thick, just cut it, so it's a bit higher than the foam, the 5 centimeter foam. I engraved them similar to what I did on the sidewalk, just to add more detail. I also apply a heavy heavy sanding on them, just to remove the shiny and the super sleek aspect. So just use some sandpaper, heavy sandpaper on the side. So that was roughly the final look, the final layout. I glued everything, put some weight on top, wait a couple of hours, and then I was able to jump on the next step. That's just some closer look at like the sidewall that was 3D printed that I added on top, like just on some of the area, just to make sure we can reach all those different levels. For the main stairs, it was done with foam. I don't have a perfect tool for that. It was like the hot wire cutter, but the handheld device, and it was far from perfect, as we can see here. But for me, it get the job done. It was my first time using that. Here I'm using the same tool to cut through that. Really first time using a hot wire cutter, and that was fine for me. Next step, adding same technique, heavy coat of PVA glue, adding some sand everywhere to add some texture, except some on the stairs. Here some closer look. Once it was dried, I apply my heavy brown paint with my brush, just to make sure there is no exposed foam, so I can use the spray paint after that. Just making sure also like it fits, the slope is not too steep so miniature can move on top for gameplay. So yeah, obviously stairs is far from perfect in terms of gameplay, but it get the jump down. I forget to hook picture. Unfortunately, here we have a pretty big jump, but after I apply that heavy brown paint, I started to use. I painted in gray the concrete part with a spray can. Pretty basic light gray, not a dark one, a very light one, almost white. So a heavy coat of that just to make sure the MDF soak up very well the paint. On that was dry, I apply some masking tape on those pieces and I apply my Zandri Dust beige paint everywhere else except from the hole I've used my gray paint. Once that was done, the next step here, and it's what I'm showcasing here, is the weathering. So here I'm creating my own kind of null oil or wash, my own weathering wash. It's a bit of matte medium, some black and brown ink, some water, and a bit of soap from when you do your dishes. Just mixing that together. Honestly, I don't have any clue in terms of how much of this, how much of that. It's just completely random. I'm just putting stuff in my bottle and I'm starting to apply, and if I'm seeing that the paint is not sticking well, I'm adding more matte medium, and if it's too pale, too white, I'm adding more ink, and just like that. So here, that's the current step. Using my brush, I'm applying that heavy weathering coat. I took out one of my first tile that I created actually 4, 5, 6 months ago, just to make sure it still match in terms of color, because that favela elevated tile I created, not at the same time, and just making sure it kind of match in terms of color. So here, weathering done, and now I'm just recording a quick video with just some grass and some tuft, while it was actually during the step I was pasting all those tufts. And that's pretty much it for this style. So let's see it back in all its detail now. And there we go, back on the table. Once I ended up with my grass stuff, the next step was all the poster over here, some graffiti here and there, some trash, again trash. It's just some basic paper. I'm just ripping away some part of actually just a board game kind of thing. I just needed something with a lot of color, just ripping part of it and gluing them everywhere. And that's pretty much the look of the building. I'm pretty happy with how the concrete look. I'm very happy with the recipe I have here. For the stain here, I just use a grayish paint that I apply on top of here, and I just use a brush to have some leaking like that. Very, very simple. Something I'm not super pleased of is that exposed foam here. I could have done something a bit better, but same thing on that side here. But I didn't really knew what to do that, and it was just simpler to leave it like that, and not big of a deal. I also pasted some brickwork on some area, so if I want to just remove some building, there is not like nothing. You still have some detail on some of those areas, like here. Even if I remove that big wall that is modular, I have a bit of detail in some places. I even have, like here for example, that bike is glued, like those bricks are glued too, that stack of brick is glued too. I still need to add a bit some barrel. I'm still painting them on my table, but that's pretty much it for the terrain tile. Hope you find that video helpful. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, and I will see you for the next video where we will dissect how we created those buildings. I will see you soon. Bye everyone.